The deep darkness of the void was usually silent, but today it was making a sound. It was a sound like glass cracking under heavy water, far away from Universe 6 and Universe 7, in a place where time did not exist. A giant seal was breaking. This seal was not a normal lock. It was made of pure white energy created by the Grand Priest millions of years ago. But now, because of the massive amount of destruction energy Gohan had used against the Void Walker, a ripple had gone through the multiverse. That ripple hit the seal. The white light flickered. A small crack appeared in the center. Then another crack appeared. Then a piece of the white light fell away and dissolved into nothing. From the darkness behind the seal, a pair of red eyes opened. These eyes were not angry. They were hungry. They had been sleeping for eons, waiting for the energy of the universe to shift. A low laugh echoed in the empty space. It was a sound that would make even a god of destruction shiver. The ancient evil was awake, and it could smell the fresh power of a new destroyer. It could smell Gohan. Back in the travel cube, Gohan was sitting on the floor. He was looking at his hands again. They were not shaking anymore, but they felt heavy. He felt tired deep inside his bones. Using the Hakai to erase a giant monster was harder than he thought. It was not just about having enough energy. It was about using his mind to force something to stop existing. It took a lot of mental power. Goku walked over and sat down next to Gohan. Goku looked happy, but also a little serious. He put his hand on Gohan's shoulder. He told Gohan that he did a great job back there. He said that power was scary, but Gohan used it to save people. Gohan looked at his dad. He saw the pride in Goku's eyes. It made Gohan feel a little better. He smiled weakly. He said, "Thanks, Dad." He said he just did what he had to do. Vegeta was standing near the wall of the cube with his arms crossed. He was looking out at the stars, but he was listening. He grunted. He said, "Do not get too comfortable." He said, "Using that power once is luck. Using it every time is skill." He said Gohan still had a long way to go before he could master it like Beerus. Beerus turned around from the front of the cube. He looked at Vegeta. He said, "The prince is right for once." He said Gohan used a lot of energy to erase that Void Walker. He said a true god of destruction could have done it with a flick of a finger. He said Gohan needed to learn efficiency. He said if Gohan used all his energy on one enemy, what would he do if there were two enemies? Gohan nodded. He knew Beerus was right. He had poured everything he had into that one attack. If there was another monster, he would have been helpless. Whis was looking at his staff. The glowing light on the staff was blinking fast. Whis looked very concerned. He said, "We are arriving at Beerus's planet soon." He said, "The Grand Priest is waiting for us." This made everyone go quiet. The Grand Priest never visited the lower worlds unless something very bad was happening. Goku gulped. He asked why the Grand Priest was coming. Whis did not answer. He just tapped his staff and the cube sped up. They landed on Beerus's planet. The grass was green and the air was fresh. But standing by the lake was a small man with blue skin and white hair. He wore a halo behind his head. It was the Grand Priest. He was smiling, but his eyes were serious. Beerus and Whis bowed low immediately. Goku and Vegeta bowed too. Gohan was a little slow because he was tired, but he bowed as well. The Grand Priest floated over to them. He looked at Gohan. He studied him for a long time. Gohan felt like the Grand Priest was looking right into his soul. It was an intense feeling. The Grand Priest spoke. His voice was calm and soft. He said, "So this is the mortal who disturbed the balance." Beerus looked nervous. He said, "Please forgive him, Grand Minister." He said the boy is still learning. He said he had to save Universe 6. The Grand Priest raised his hand. He said he was not here to punish Gohan. He said Gohan did the right thing to save the Saiyans, but actions have consequences. The Grand Priest conjured a table and chairs made of light. He asked them to sit. They all sat down. The Grand Priest began to tell them a story. He said that a long time ago, before Beerus was born, there was a different danger in the multiverse. He said that creation and destruction must be balanced. The Kais create and the destroyers destroy. But there was one being who did not fit this balance. His name was Moro. No, not Moro, the goat wizard. This was someone much older. His name was Kamba the consumer. Kamba was not a god. He was a mistake of the universe. He was born from the empty space between universes. He did not want to destroy things to maintain balance. He wanted to consume everything until there was nothing left. He wanted to turn the whole multiverse into a blank white page. Goku asked if Kamba was strong. The Grand Priest nodded slowly. He said Kamba was strong enough to fight 3 angels at the same time. This made Vegeta's eyes go wide. Fighting 1 angel was impossible. Fighting 3 was unimaginable. The Grand Priest continued. He said that Zeno the Omni King could not erase Kamba easily, because Kamba was made of nothingness. You cannot erase something that is already nothing. So they sealed him away. They locked him in a dimension called the Null Realm. The seal was held tight by the pressure of the multiverse. But when Gohan used his massive Hakai in Universe 6, it created a vacuum. That vacuum pulled on the seal, and now the seal was broken. Gohan felt a cold sweat on his forehead. He asked if this was his fault. The Grand Priest looked at him kindly. He said, "Do not blame yourself." He said this was destined to happen one day. He said the seal was getting old. Gohan's power was just the key that opened the lock. But now Kamba was free, and he would be very hungry. The Grand Priest stood up. He said Kamba would not attack immediately. He would send his minions first. He would send the Shadow Beast to gather energy for him. He said Gohan must prepare. He said since Gohan broke the seal, Gohan had a connection to Kamba. He said Gohan might be the only one who can stop him. The Grand Priest turned to Whis. He said train him well. He said the fate of all universes rests on this. Then the Grand Priest vanished in a pillar of light. Silence covered the group. Beerus rubbed his face. He looked stressed. He said, "This is just great." He said, "First we have a tournament, and now we have an ancient monster." He looked at Gohan. He said, "Get up." He said, "There is no time for sleeping." He said, "If you are going to clean up this mess, you need to get stronger right now." Gohan stood up. His legs felt heavy, but he forced them to work. He asked what they were going to do. Whis tapped his staff. He said, "We are going to the training dimension inside my staff." He said time flows differently there. We can get a week of training in 1 hour. He said Goku and Vegeta should come too. They would need everyone. They were sucked into the staff. Inside, it was a world of pure white. It looked like the hyperbolic time chamber, but the air was filled with God energy. It was hard to breathe. The gravity was heavy. Whis created 4 clones of himself, 1 for Goku, 1 for Vegeta, and 2 for Gohan. Whis said Gohan needs double the pressure. Gohan took a fighting stance. He was not wearing his glasses. His eyes were sharp. He powered up. He went straight into his ultimate form. He did not use the beast form yet. He wanted to save that energy. The Whis clones attacked. They were fast, faster than light. Gohan tried to block. He blocked a punch to his face, but a kick hit his ribs. He flew back. He rolled on the white floor and stood up. Goku was fighting his clone nearby. Goku turned Super Saiyan Blue. He was moving instinctively. He was trying to use Ultra Instinct, but he was struggling to keep his mind calm because he was worried about the new threat. Vegeta was roaring. He was in his Super Saiyan Blue evolved form. He was attacking his clone with pure aggression. But the clones were perfect. They dodged everything. Whis spoke from the sky. He said, "You are all fighting with fear." He said, "Fear makes you slow." He said, "You must accept the danger." Gohan closed his eyes. He thought about Kamba, a monster that eats everything. He thought about the Void Walker. He remembered the feeling of erasure. He realized that destruction energy was the opposite of what Kamba was. Kamba was nothing. Destruction was the act of turning something into nothing. Maybe they were similar. Gohan opened his eyes. He flared his aura. He summoned the purple destruction energy. It coated his body like armor. He rushed at the two Whis clones. He did not punch with his fists. He punched with the energy. He threw a punch, and a wave of purple light shot out. The clones had to dodge. The energy grazed one clone's shoulder, and the fabric of the clone's robe disintegrated. Whis watched from above. He smiled. He said, "Gohan is learning. He is learning that he does not need to touch the enemy to destroy them. He can project the destruction." Gohan kept fighting. He was sweating buckets. His muscles burned. But he did not stop. He fought for what felt like days inside that white world. Outside, only minutes passed. Suddenly, a siren sound echoed in the wide world. It was an alarm from outside. Whis stopped the training. He transported them all back to the real world on Beerus's planet. The oracle fish was swimming around in his bowl, screaming. He said, "Danger, danger." He said a planet in the North Galaxy was under attack. He said the shadow beasts were there. Beerus looked at the map. It was a planet called Planet Bus. It was a peaceful planet with primitive people who looked like large mushrooms. Goku said, "Let's go." He put his fingers to his forehead to use instant transmission, but he couldn't find a Kai signature. He said, "I can't sense anyone." He said, "It's like the planet is empty." We said the shadow beasts absorb energy. They hide their presence. He said, "We have to use the cube." They all jumped into the cube. They flew at max speed. When they arrived at Planet Bars, it was a nightmare. The sky was pitch black. The sun was blocked by a web of dark energy. On the ground there were thousands of creatures. They looked like wolves made of black smoke. They had red eyes like Kamba. They were attacking the mushroom people. The mushroom people were running, but they were slow. When a shadow wolf bit a mushroom person, the person did not bleed. They just turned grey and crumbled into dust. The wolves were eating their life force. Gohan saw this and got angry, but he remembered his training. He took a deep breath. He pushed the anger down and turned it into focus. He opened the door of the cube and flew out. Goku and Vegeta followed him. Beerus and Whis stayed in the cube to watch. Beerus said, "Let's see how they handle a swarm." Gohan landed in the middle of a village. A group of 10 shadow wolves jumped at him. Gohan did not move his feet. He raised his finger. He fired 10 tiny beams of purple energy. Zip, zip, zip. The beams hit the wolves. The wolves shrieked and vanished. They were erased. Gohan looked around. There were too many of them. He could not shoot them one by one. He had to think of a better way. Goku landed on the other side of the village. He went Super Saiyan God. His red hair glowed. He was fast. He punched a wolf. His fist went right through it. The wolf was made of smoke. Physical attacks did not work well unless they were packed with energy. The wolf bit Goku's arm. Goku yelled. He felt his energy draining. He blasted the wolf with a ki wave. The wolf blew apart, but then the smoke came back together and reformed. Goku said, "Oh, come on, these things are annoying." Vegeta was having the same problem. He was blasting them with ki blast, but they kept reforming. He shouted, "These things are like Boo, but worse." He charged a final flash. He fired a massive yellow beam. It vaporized 100 wolves, but from the shadows 200 more appeared. They were endless. Gohan saw his dad and Vegeta struggling. He realized that these creatures were not fully alive. They were projections of Kamba's power. You could not kill them by hitting them. You had to cut the connection. Gohan flew up into the air. He looked at the web of dark energy in the sky. He realized that was the source. The web was feeding the wolves. If he destroyed the web, the wolves would vanish. But the web was huge. It covered the whole planet. Gohan needed a massive attack. But if he used a massive attack, he might blow up the planet too. He had to be precise. He had to be a surgeon with a sledgehammer. He closed his eyes. He reached for that cold place inside him, the destroyer state. His hair spiked up. His aura turned purple and silver. The pressure coming off him was immense. The mushroom people stopped running and looked up. They felt the power of a god. Gohan raised both hands. He created a disc of purple energy. It looked like Krillin's Destructo disc, but it was made of Hakai energy. He made it spin. It spun faster and faster until it hummed. Then he made it bigger. It grew until it was the size of a stadium. Gohan yelled, "Hakai disc." He threw it. The giant purple disc flew into the sky. It did not fly straight. Gohan controlled it with his mind. He made it curve. It sliced through the dark web. Wherever the disc touched the web, the black energy turned purple and dissolved. Gohan moved his hands like a conductor. The disc flew around the whole planet, cutting the web into pieces. It was beautiful and terrifying. The sky began to clear. The sunlight shone through the cuts in the web. On the ground, the shadow wolves stopped moving. They howled in pain. Without the connection to the web, they could not hold their form. They started to evaporate like steam. Thousands of them vanished at once. Goku and Vegeta stopped fighting. They looked up at the sky. They saw the giant purple disc fading away. Goku laughed. He said, "Wow, Gohan really figured it out." Vegeta smirked. He said the boy actually used his brain. Gohan floated down. He was panting. That attack took a lot of concentration. Controlling the destruction energy at that range was difficult. The mushroom people came out of hiding. They gathered around Gohan. They were cheering in their strange language. They hugged his legs. Gohan smiled. He felt good. He had saved them without destroying their home. This was the kind of destroyer he wanted to be. A protector. But the victory was short. Suddenly, the ground began to shake violently, much more violent than before. A giant crack opened in the middle of the village. Purple lava spewed out. But it wasn't lava. It was corrupted energy. From the crack, a hand emerged. It was not a shadow wolf. It was a person. A tall warrior with grey skin and long white hair. He wore armor that looked ancient. He had the same red eyes as Kanba. He stepped out of the crack. His power level was enormous. It felt heavier than Jiren's. Goku and Vegeta felt it, and immediately transformed into Super Saiyan Blue. They flew over to Gohan. They stood side by side. The grey warrior looked at them. He did not speak. He just pointed a finger at Gohan. A beam of grey light shot out. It was so fast Gohan barely saw it. Gohan crossed his arms to block. The beam hit Gohan's arms. It did not burn. It felt like ice. Gohan felt his arms go numb. He looked at his arms. The sleeves of his uniform were turning grey and crumbling. The grey colour was spreading to his skin. It was turning him into stone. Gohan panicked. He tried to flex his arms, but he couldn't move them. Whis appeared instantly in front of Gohan. He tapped his staff on Gohan's arms. A white light flashed, and the grey stone cracked and fell off. Gohan's skin was red and raw underneath, but he was okay. Whis looked very serious. He looked at the grey warrior. Whis said, "Be careful, everyone. This is not a minion. This is one of Kanba's generals. This is Moro the Stone Heart. No, not the wizard. This is a different Moro. warrior from the ancient war. The grey warrior spoke. His voice sounded like grinding rocks. He said, "The seal is broken. The master is hungry. I have come to prepare the meal." He looked to the planet. He said, "This world has good energy. It will be a nice appetizer." Goku stepped forward. He said, "We won't let you eat this planet." He charged at the general. Goku threw a punch. The general caught Goku's fist. The general's hand started to glow grey. Goku felt the stone curse spreading to his hand. Goku quickly kicked the general and backflipped away. Goku shook his hand. It hurt. Vegeta yelled and fired a Gallic gun. The purple beam hit the general. The general just stood there. The beam hit his armor and splashed off harmlessly. The general laughed. He said, "Is that all the power of this era? How pathetic." He said, "In my time, warriors could shatter stars with a gaze." Gohan was angry. He hated being called pathetic. He hated that this guy tried to turn him to stone. He stepped past Whis. His purple aura flared up again. He said, "We are not pathetic." He said, "We are the protectors of this universe." Gohan charged his energy. He condensed the destruction power into his fist. He did not shoot a beam. He focused the Hakai into a single point on his knuckles. This was a technique he learned in the mental training. The concentrated Hakai punch. Gohan vanished. He used his speed. He appeared right in front of the general. The general looked surprised by the speed. Gohan punched the general in the chest. The general tried to harden his skin to block. But Gohan's fist carried the power of erasure. When the fist hit the armor did not break. It was erased. A hole the size of a fist appeared in the armor. The punch continued and hit the general's skin. The general flew back. He crashed through a mountain. The mountain collapsed. Gohan stood there, his fist smoking. He was breathing hard. That attack used a lot of stamina, but it worked. He heard the general. The rubble moved. The general stood up. He looked at the hole in his armor. He looked at the bruise on his chest. He wiped a drop of black blood from his mouth. He smiled a cruel smile. He said, "Interesting. You have the power of the destroyers, but you are immortal." He said, "This will be a fun fight." The general powered up. A grey aura exploded around him. The sky turned grey. The gravity on the planet increased by 10 times. The mushroom people fell to the ground unable to move. Even Goku and Vegeta felt their knees buckle. The general floated up. He summoned a giant sword made of grey energy. He pointed it at Gohan. He said, "My name is General Raga, and I will be the one to extinguish your light." Gohan stood tall against the heavy gravity. He knew this fight was just starting. He knew this General Raga was stronger than anyone he had fought alone. But Gohan was not alone. He had his father. He had Vegeta. And he had the training of Whis Beerus. Gohan looked at General Raga. He smiled. He said, "Bring it on." Whis watched from the side. He whispered to Beerus. He said, "Gohan is growing fast, but this enemy is dangerous." Raga was known for killing novice destroyers in the ancient war. Beerus grunted. He said, "If Gohan dies here, then he was never meant to be a god." But Beerus's hand was clenched tight. He was worried. He actually cared about the kid. The episode ended with Gohan and General Raga staring at each other, the air crackling with purple and grey lightning. The fate of Planet Bars hung in the balance. Stay tuned for the next episode to see the epic battle between the son of Goku and the ancient general.